Okay.
All right, Nneka, we are live, young lady. How are you doing today?
I am good. How are you?
I'm doing well. I'm doing well. It's been a busy day. I'm assuming you probably had a very busy day as well.
I did. I did. And
Yeah,
after the call, I am going to
I know,
sleep.
right? I feel the exact same way. I don't know why I've been like having to have to take naps here lately,
Oh,
like
yeah,
a
I'm getting
person.
older.
I
That's all.
look. You heard me say like an old person, right?
I can get me a nap in.
And listen, I'm here with you. I'm here for it. All right, let's get into it. Let's get into it. Anika,
I know.
we've been having some really juicy ones here lately, and this one, to say the least, is amongst them.
Hmm.
Um, so I guess I'll tee it up, but it'll be 50-50 on this one.
Okay.
But this is one that you came up with. I thought it was good. I had seen it and I meant to send this to you because I was like, oh, here we go. I know this is going to be a big deal. So
Yes.
here it is, our title for tonight. Cheating has no gender, but forgiveness often does. And so what we're going to be talking about is Miss Tina Campbell of Mary Mary, the two sisters, one half of the dynamic duo. We all know who they are. They came out strong, probably like in the early 2000s, gospel group, two sisters who tore up the charts, not just on the gospel side, but on the R&B side and on some other sides as well. Both of the sisters are married, um, but the one sister has had some issues. Both of them, I think, have in
Oh,
this particular area, but the one has really had some issues. Tina.
hmm.
Uh, a few years ago, Tina and her husband went through a really nasty ordeal where her husband was caught cheating.
Yeah.
And to add insult to injury, he was cheating with somebody who actually worked for her, who
Mm.
was very close to the family, who was like a grandmother to one of their children. So
Wow. I didn't know
it
that.
yeah. It was really an entanglement. This thing was really bad, and I mean, it was so bad, in fact, that I don't know if you know this or not, but Tina wound up destroying a couple of their cars. Like she just crashed out heavily,
Yep.
and she actually shot up one of the cars, like put bullet holes in the car.
Wow.
And she went so far as to Nika, she said she was planning on killing a few people.
Really?
Um, yeah, she was in a really dark place. I went back and did a lot of reading on her, and I couldn't find a lot on her husband, except that he literally played for Jay Leno when Jay Leno was on. He was Jay Leno's drummer in his house band.
That's true. That's right.
Yeah, so he's a musician as well, or was a musician. I don't know if he still is or isn't.
Hmm.
But they went through this real rocky period, and it was while she was on the road traveling. Because at one point, Mary was on fire. They were everywhere. They were traveling probably, I'm assuming, 365 days out of a year. They were probably traveling probably at least 200 of those because they were really on fire at that point. And he wound up cheating on her. I don't think he cheated on her once. I think he cheated on her multiple times with multiple women. And when it came out on because they had a reality show, and it came out on a reality show that he was cheating on her. And she was like, she was devastated, of course, but they wound up reconciling. And then I guess the reconciliation didn't last or didn't work out, and they've been separated now for since 24, since I think it's June of 24. And so the husband, however, just recently, this month, about 2 weeks ago, decided it wasn't going to work. No matter what they tried to do, the counseling, the talking, the praying, none of that stuff worked. And so he filed for divorce, not her. The ironic part about it is that people were saying she should have been the one to probably have filed divorce some time ago, but she didn't file divorce because she believed, you know what, I think we can work it out. And they tried to work it out. And so here we are again with our question and our title for tonight. And what the title for tonight is Cheating Has No Gender, but Forgiveness Often Does. And Nneka, you saw the promo I put out. Is it, stay, pray, or walk away? What would you do if your spouse cheated on you? Now, before we get into this, marriage is, hey, John, how you doing? John LeMaster is on with us tonight. And before we do this, we want to encourage people to join us on it. We really want to hear from you on tonight. So please do us a favor, a couple, if you don't mind. Invite other folks to come on. If you haven't already subscribed to the channel, please subscribe to the channel, like the channel, We want you to comment. Please, we really want to hear from you on tonight and every night. We want to hear from you because we want the podcast to grow and be better because it is for you guys. So the question is, as we start this, would you stay? Would you pray or would you walk away? Marriage is, Anika, can be challenging at times, can be difficult at times. And the one thing that, I've heard people say, because I read a lot of comments regarding this matter,
Yeah.
they were like, I would just leave. And sometimes marriage, we're not talking about being a boyfriend or a girlfriend, a fiance. Now we talk about somebody who's been married, and she's been married now for probably close to 30 years,
They said
right?
25. They said 25, I think.
25 years. Okay, so about 25 years. That's still a long time to be
Oh,
married. They have kids together. They got experiences. They got joint, family, all this kind of stuff. We don't ever know what happens behind closed doors. And so, while people were saying she should stay, walk away, she shouldn't have stayed with him. That's easy for you to say if you aren't married. That's easy for you to say if you've never been in a long-term relationship.
yeah.
That's easy for you to say if you have never experienced love, obviously the way that she did. And so, yeah, and you don't have any skin in the game. So it's easy when you're looking from the outside in saying, "Oh, you should leave." And I saw something recently where somebody posted a comment reference to something similar to this, and they was like, "Yeah, you should leave, and then your girlfriend gonna step in." This is the kind of thing they root for. And so, it'd be the one who telling you to leave, 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 and you leave, and then all of a sudden, it's that person who was telling you to leave who winds up with your boyfriend, girlfriend, husband, whatever the case is.
Right.
And so on tonight, as difficult as it is, we want to have this discussion because these things happen, Nika,
Yeah.
all the time. And who knows? Who knows what happens? But
Hmm.
what do you have to say?
Well, first, it would be a deal breaker for me. Absolutely.
Hmm.
Yeah. I couldn't emotionally and mentally, I could not trust a person after that because you walk out the door. It would be too triggering with different movements and, it would be too triggering. I wouldn't want to torment myself that way. Um, but yeah, it would definitely be a deal breaker for me.
I'm going to do something. I'm actually going to do what you normally would do. I want to know why. I really want to know why he actually did it. And I did hear because I went back to a couple of interviews that they had done, but I still couldn't quite get the why out of what exactly happened. Like what prompted it? What made him step out on her? What was the deal? And part of what I heard was that she wasn't paying him enough attention. That was part of what was going on. But I still don't think even with that, that was all of what it was. He didn't really get into it. I wish the interviewer would have gone a little bit deeper into why he did it. Normally you would ask that question. You would say, what is the why here? Like, why did he do it? And I'll just put this to you, Nneka, because you're the relationship expert here. I think we both are experts, but you are a qualified expert here and, relationship therapist. What makes a person step out on their spouse, or what are the reasons why? Not talking about a man or woman, but just in general, what
Well,
would be those things?
you would have to separate it though, because women cheat for different reasons, and men,
Okay,
you have to separate it.
okay,
Uh, I think for men, I think sometimes, like for instance, a man who has power, a man who has money. In his case, he's a celebrity. I know you say he played for Jay Leno or who?
yeah,
Yeah,
he was Jay Leno,
yeah,
house band drummer.
yeah. So you're traveling. Your risk perception may be very low. So you may say, okay, I've gotten away with this before. I'm a celebrity. People want me. So you don't see the risk being that great. So you see opportunity. And I think most men, well, you of course you can speak to because you're, a man in terms of why men would cheat or why a woman would cheat. But I feel like men sometimes the need for attention, lack not setting boundaries with people. Men sometimes don't get the cues, the hints when women are flirting with them, and
I
so
would agree with that.
they don't set those boundaries.
Well,
And
hold on a second. Quick question. So, because that's a great observation you make, and my wife said to tell me this, and you and I talked about it before. I don't always get cues when women are flirting or whatever the case is. I don't. I mean, I'm not looking for it. I don't pay attention, so it go over my head. I'm not really looking for that. I'm not paying attention. And I honestly think I honestly think rather, it takes a woman to tell a man, hey, you need to watch out because that woman is flirting with you, whether you realize it or not. I mean, of course, there's some obvious things, but we're not talking about the obvious things. We're talking about the things that
So
women do that are real, that very slick, that are very subtle, that are very cunning. Those kinds of things. And men miss those all the time. And of course, some men don't, some do. If you're looking for it, of course, this is what I would say to, for myself, I'm not looking for that. So I will miss it every time. If you said, unless you tell me, said, Mike, you got to watch out for this, I would have missed it. It's only because my wife has taught me certain things that I know that that's the case. But even still today, I probably will miss a whole bunch of things because I'm just not paying attention.
yeah, it's just the touching. You know, why are you touching? Why
Mm-hmm.
are you touching him? Her? What? Why?
Mm-hmm.
You can laugh. You
Mm-hmm.
can without being physical and rubbing arms and just grinning and smiling and complimenting and I get some of it is probably genuine, but I feel like in some cases, not a lot of there's a lot of single women out there who
Yes.
are wanting to be married, who want to be in relationships, and they will, you know, they don't mind. Unfortunately, some women don't mind, taking their chance at a married man. What they can get away with. Will he
Mm.
fight?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Take the bait? And so they
Yeah.
check it out. And sometimes you guys take the bait. And I
I would
probably
agree.
him, he's traveling. He took the bait. He probably saw an opportunity. Let's say he may not even been happy at home. That could very well be the case too. He ain't happy at home.
That's what
But
it sounded like.
yeah, but at the end of the day, you still have a decision to make. We're not going to blame said woman. We're not going to blame said woman or man. You're not going to blame that person because you made a decision. If you want out of a relationship and you feel like you're wanting to, go in a different direction, communicate that and say, listen, before you do that, before you commit adultery, like say that you don't want to be married anymore before you go there, before you break those vows.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
You said something that was key, I think. You said that, and I did read this, by the way, and I was going to get into it a little bit later, but because you brought it up already, I want to talk about
Mhm.
it. So we know, because I did some really, really deep, kind of studying here and
Mhm.
research and investigation. Women do cheat for emotional reasons. That's what it said. Most of the time, it's an emotional thing. Whereas men, it isn't. It's kind of just a more a physical thing because men actually are very physical. We look with our eyes, we're very physical in that sense that, our senses are highly motivated, through our eyes. And so they talked about this, and you said this. You said women cheat for emotional reasons. So you want to go into that a little bit more, and I'll talk from the man side for the most part, but I'll have you talk from both sides, but I'll speak more from on
Yeah.
the man side. Hmm.
I think for women, it takes a lot for them to go that route if they don't feel like they're getting the attention, the compliments, the appreciation, the love. And then you figure if you're at work, a lot of times we spend most of our time at work. And if you're working around men, someone who's asking you how you're doing and being intentional about you, it's easy. And then you start disclosing things, to that said person. You know how people say work husband, work wives, all that
Hmm.
stuff, which I do not agree with. Oh, this is my work husband. This is my work wife. No, it's not. That's your coworker. And so you start overstepping boundaries there. And you start allowing certain things to happen. I think I probably told you, I don't know if I did said on this podcast, but I remember working for Ford Credit. And there's this guy, there was a kitchen in this particular area. Did I tell you this?
No, tell me.
And
Do tell.
and but he was married at the time. I was not married, but if I was in the kitchen at our office making something or heating up something, he would come up behind me and put his arms around my waist. And I
Wow.
said to him, I said, if your wife was here, would you do that? He was like, oh, Nneka girl. I'm like, I'm serious. I said, don't do to me what you wouldn't do in front of your wife. I said, would you do that? I'm like, would you do that? So he backed up, but I'm like, don't touch me. Now, I could have been that person to just like, cozy up and took advantage of that? No, I ain't playing around with nobody's marriage. Like I said, again, I was single at that time, but I very well could have, took a liking to that. And so, yeah, so he backed up. But again, some men are looking for opportunity. Like, who can I, will in here? So again, yeah. So again, I think women, if we're not getting the attention, if we're not getting the love, the respect, and we have somebody at work that is giving us that attention, we tend to, it starts with the emotional first for women.
Mm. That's
It,
interesting to hear you say that because I know from a man's standpoint of view, especially if you're working a lot, like a lot of times I'll hear women say, I want you to spend all of this time with me, I want you to do all this and all that. And I get it. But for most men who work hard and who out here getting in the Nneka, I'm talking about out here hustling, trying to take care of their families, doing all that. A lot of these men don't have that kind of time. Like, I mean, not to say that we don't have time to spend to give you the quality time, but I mean, we can't be up underneath you 24 hours a day, 7 days. It's impossible. If you're saying you want me to take care of home, you're saying you want this, that, and the other, you want our house to be a certain way, you want to drive a certain way, you want a particular lifestyle, somebody's got to go do that. And somebody typically is the man that's going to do it. And most of the time, he's not there because it requires him to be away from the home to be able to actually make money. I remember earlier on in my career, Nneka, in my 30s, in my 40s, I mean, even now, in my 50s, I'm hustling. But in my 30s and my 40s, Nneka, I was hustling, especially in my 40s. I was hustling like it was nobody's business. I mean, I've taken every mode of transportation you can think of to go to work, planes, trains, automobiles, and driving. That particular point. I mean, sometimes I'll be on the West Coast working, I'll be down South working, I'd just be all over. In my 50s, it's still kind of the same way, but it's not as much as it was when I was a little younger. And I remember explaining to my wife and my kids, some of the things that I have to do requires me to be away from home. And sometimes it's going to require me to be from home a little bit longer than I really want to be from home, or I got to be at work a little bit longer. So I've never had a normal work day. I can remember, yeah, I mean, maybe in my first 7 or 8 years of my professional life of working, maybe 10 years. But after that, I've never had a regular day of working. I could work 14 hours a day. I could work 15 hours a day. I could be working 16 hours a day. It just depends on what was going on. When I owned the IT firm, I worked, it felt like 20 hours a day. I would go to work probably 10, 12, 13 hours a day, come home, eat, get a little bit of rest, still work even after leaving the office for maybe an hour or so. In the morning, Nneka, this was crazy. I would get up in the morning. First thing I would do is turn my computer on. This would be like at 6, 7 o'clock in the morning because I'm putting out fires all day long. I'm in meetings all day long. And so I can imagine, and most of the men that I knew, Nneka, their lives were very much similar. They were working at hard. They were always trying to provide for their family. So being at home wasn't a luxury. And I've learned now over the years, especially because I've been married for 30 years, almost 31 years now,
Mhm.
that quality time matters, right? And it's picking and choosing those times and sitting down with your spouse and say, look, let's do this. Let's be intentional about this, or this, because I know I'm not going to be here for this, that, or the other, because I got to work. And I'm assuming for you, Fred is probably the same way that he's probably hustling right now, working hard to take care of you and your family.
hmm But you know what, Michael, and I can appreciate that. But when you said you guys can't be up under us, a woman who has her own stuff and life, things that she's doing, that's not the expectation. Compliments, appreciation is free. It costs you nothing. It costs a man nothing to say
Mm-hmm.
I appreciate you. You know what? Dinner was good.
Mm-hmm.
Managing the household. Thanks for keeping a clean household.
Mm-hmm.
I Fred something simple as this. Thanks for paying the mortgage. Right? I don't take for granted that he pays the bills. Thank you for paying the bills.
Yeah.
I say that to him, and he's just like, okay. I'm like,
Yeah.
yeah, I appreciate that. I don't have to
Mm-hmm.
worry about you mishandling money because you're gonna
Yep.
take care of the household. So I really feel like those things are free, So I
They
don't
are.
feel it takes a person out of their way to show appreciation because women want that. We want to hear. I'm a word person. I'm not a gift person. I
Mm-hmm.
want I want you to tell me how much you appreciate. My love language is words of affirmation. Gifts, I don't need no gifts. Tell
Yep.
me, you want to buy me something. I'm like, okay, this is okay, that's cool. But words of affirmation, we want
That's a
that.
good. That's also a good point you make too, because this is where, I mean, I don't know where their marriage broke down at, because obviously the marriage broke down somewhere because that happened. And I mean, I don't blame him or her because I don't know enough to blame him or her. I just know that he did something and that happened. So I don't know what happened there, but you said something, love language. And a lot of times in marriage, and when I talk to married couples, they don't often know each other's love languages, right? Because they've just not spent enough time with one another to know what that language looks like. And that's important because, like you said, what if you're a type of person who you need that type of affection, that touch? Let's just say yours is touch, and you, as a husband, you don't realize that's what your wife needs. You think she needs presents, like you think she just wants a Gucci bag, and a Gucci bag, or will be, excuse me, one second, a Gucci bag will be the end all to your problems with her, when she's saying, look, I don't need another Gucci bag. You didn't bought me 50 of them,
Right.
but you haven't touched me. You haven't told me you love me. You haven't held my hand. You haven't done all these other things. That's important to know what your spouse's love language is. Because if you miss that constantly, you're gonna have some issues, and you're gonna have, oh, we're gonna have, fix this right. You're gonna have some, excuse me one second,
Are you good? Yeah.
You're gonna have a lot of issues and problems. And so knowing that is a big deal. And I just wonder, because we're talking about this now, could her husband, or rather could she, have missed something and it caused him to do that? I don't want to put blame on her. I'm just asking a question. Could that have been it? I mean, we'll never know, right? Because they ain't talking about it no more. That's past now. That's past tense.
Yeah. I don't know, but I'm gonna tell you, I'm gonna say this, and I'm not blaming her, because again, I think people make decisions. But it's something about her.
I'm glad you said it, because I'm wondering if you're gonna say
Okay,
what I'm
let me
thinking.
just say this. I don't know her at
Hmm.
all. But it's something about her, because of when you said when she found out she was busting out windows, she was doing all these types of things.
Yep.
I don't have a personality to do that. So my thing is, if you would do something like that, are you know how they call it? What they call them, rooftop women?
Oh yeah.
I'm just wondering. Again, I'm not saying that's a reason to cheat, cheat on someone, but I'm thinking it's something about her attitude that seems a little, I don't know, just sharp
She
with the
got
tongue.
she got a what we would call probably a lot of male energy. Like she comes off very much like a man, right?
Yeah,
Very much like a man, like very controlling, very dominating. But we don't know if that
we
was the
don't know
case,
that.
but just observations, right? And I would agree with you, because she didn't just bust the window out, Anika. She shot a whole car. She shot at him. She
Yeah,
could have literally killed him.
that's
I mean,
anger. That's anger.
yeah,
That's anger. But
and
in the
she actually.
show, I did see hints of it, right? Of her being
Mm,
aggressive and domineering. I see
mm,
that in the. I don't know if you watched the reality show.
I caught it
So
a couple
I
times.
saw that energy of like, raw, kind of. We have some questions there, or statements, Michael.
No, I don't. Unless you see any, I don't. I'm looking. I don't see any right here.
Really?
Except that, yeah, John, I only see the one with John.
Oh,
Actually,
just John.
that was me. I asked the question, would you stay, pray, or walk away?
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, just put it to our audience. And I still want to know from our audience, what would you do? I did notice, by the way, that she was very hyper aggressive. She had a lot of I don't want to call them male tendencies, because you and I talked about this before, but she was very, very aggressive, just in general. And she did seem to have a problem with anger. Seemed like she should have probably taken some anger management classes, or maybe, gone to see someone like yourself to talk about some issues that she may have had prior to getting married, and maybe even during her marriage as well. And again, this isn't blaming her. This is things that we just noticed, because, it could have been if he was doing something. Maybe he did something to her and we just not aware of it. But we do know this, Anika, for a fact. He filed for divorce. And I want to know why he filed for divorce as well, because he was putting up with this for a long time. And maybe I should, maybe bad choice of words, but he was married to her for a while. And I'm just wondering what triggered him to say, I'm done. And he was the one that cheated, right? That's the thing. And that's what I think on top of everybody's mind is, what was it that drove you to say, all right, today is the day that I'm filing for divorce? But he was the one who committed the infraction. Now, here's what I do want to know as well, from her side, because she said she never, cheated on him. She never, put herself in a position where she would cheat. She never talked crazy to a man, or any of this other, in terms of like flirting with another man, anything like. She never did any of those things. But I'm wondering if it was just the exact opposite. As we talked about, because we talk about love language, we don't often talk about it in the sense that men have needs as well. We rarely talk about that. And I'm wondering if possibly it could have been she was ignoring him in a sense. Again, we'll never know because that was done behind closed doors. And all marriages go through different things,
Right.
right? They just do.
Let me ask you, is that a deal breaker for you?
Yeah, that would be a deal breaker for me. That would be a deal. We talked about last week, and I didn't see the movie by the way, but I'm going to see it. Somebody did tell me about it, so I don't want to tell you what they told me, but they was like, Mike, if you saw the movie, they were saying, well, what I said mirrored exactly what happened with the young man. And I was like, oh, that's interesting. That was okay. It's like almost word for word verbatim. So that was crazy to me. That scared me a little bit.
Yeah.
But that would definitely be a deal breaker for the same reasons that I would never feel like I could trust you. Like I would always feel like I have to be checking up on you, which I'm not the type of person. I don't have that kind of time to check up on you. And if I feel that way, then I'm just gonna leave because I need peace of mind. Like I'm at the place in my mind and in my body and my spirit. It's peace at all costs. I can't have anything interrupt that peace. So I need that, and that would not give me peace whatsoever. In fact, it would be just the opposite. But
Yeah.
I know people who have done it. I know people who have said they would do it. Even my wife, she and I talked about it. She said the same thing. She was like, "That's a deal breaker for her," and it's because I think her parents are divorced. And she's just like being a child of somebody who's been divorced. That's just all kinds of things happen, and that is just a deal breaker right there. That's not something she or I could live with.
Yeah.
So
No.
one of the things I do know, because you mentioned this, and I'll just speak from my position as a man, that you have to put up boundaries, right, with people, because otherwise they will be broken. I heard a pastor say a long time ago, if it ain't for sale, take the sign down.
That's right.
So I don't have a sign up. I don't do things or say things that will make somebody think that I'm available for that. And I try to make sure that I do things as a constant reminder for myself and to keep myself safe. Is I tell people, and Nneka, you know this, before I even really met you, I went on and on about my wife.
Oh yeah.
I
Hmm.
do that on purpose. I don't go anywhere. I don't when people ask me in interviews whatever it is I'm doing, one of the first things I do is I mention my wife
Your problem
because
story.
I want you to know that
That,
I'm not playing around with you. I'm not thinking about doing this. That's not even the top of my mind. I'm not that type of guy.
but all women aren't. Yeah, I like that you do that. But just like you, I think there is some, like for me, I'm the same way. I lead with married and happy, and there are some respectable men and women who are not trying to step out step outside of their relationships. I mean, one thing that my husband said to me, because I counsel a lot of couples, and infidelity can be a part of what I'm counseling. And I remember early in my career and early in my marriage, I was like, oh my God, all these men and women are having affairs. And he says, Nneka, he said, don't internalize that.
Yep.
That is not my weakness. He said, that's not the man that I am. I do not have a weakness for that. So don't you even. I'm like, okay. Because you start to internalize, you're like,
Yep.
this was a good person. And he said, that's not me. And when I say I believe that with every fiber of my being, I believe that. That man loved his wife. So it's just like, and I know that. So yeah, and I think that's what most women want to feel. I feel Fred's love if he's not even around, and I'm sure your wife.
Mm,
Same way. I feel like if he's out of town, if I'm at work, I still feel his love, and I think that's what women want. I don't have to be around him to feel
mm-hmm.
loved, right? He's not a guy that like hangs out at parties. He has a breakfast club buddies. They go to breakfast every Saturday, every second Saturday of the month, so they can get back at 7 a.m. so they can get back to their family, so they are not out to. It's just he have just good people that he's around too, so that makes a difference. You have
Mm-hmm.
good people that you're around. It's gonna hold you accountable.
No, you know what's interesting about that? You're 100% correct. Like birds of a feather do flock together.
Yes.
And you got to be careful, as especially, talking to married people, you got to be very careful about who you hang around with. I don't hang around with a lot of single people only because I don't have single people tendencies,
Mm,
right? I don't think like a single person.
okay.
I don't want to do the thing typically that single people do. I mean, most single people that I know, they're out looking for someone. So
Yeah.
most of their life is spent on trying to figure out how they can do this, that, or the other, which is very contrary to what I do. So I try to spend my time, with people who are married, and not just married, people who love their spouses, who genuinely love their spouses. Because you and I both know people who are married, but they don't really like their spouses. I
Right.
always tell people too, from a perspective of being married, love is not enough. I
Woo.
found that early on, love is not enough. If you love somebody, that's great. That's a prerequisite. You should love them. But that's just not enough.
It's
In
not.
my mind, you have to like the person. And some people say that's crazy to say that you would like. Listen, you gotta like the person. You have to like the fact that they are in your space. I did hear this, and Anika, we can go back and forth about it. I don't agree with it at all. I'm gonna say this up front.
Okay.
There's a growing contention of women who are saying that they want to be married, but they don't want their spouses to live with them. And you and I talked about this,
Yeah.
and I don't understand how you could maintain a marriage and it work. Although a lot of people do this, this is not a new thing. It's been around for a long time, where you can have married couples, one living on the West Coast, one living on the East Coast. They get together, they hook up, they'll make plans, and they'll come together for a particular amount of time, and then they go back to living their lives. Some people live next door to one another. Some people live down the street from one another. It works for them. For me, that couldn't work. That just wouldn't work. I don't even understand how that's marriage, because of how I have a very older mindset, I guess, in terms of marriage and how I believe marriage is to be done. Not to say it can't be done other ways. I just believe it should be done a particular way. That's a bias of mine, and I understand that. I quite clearly understand that.
Right.
That not everybody thinks that way.
Yeah. Some people just like, I mean, I think if you, a lot of times people getting married later in life, or they've been married
Hmm.
before in second marriage, and they just find that it works better. I mean, you got to have two people who are in agreement with that. I wouldn't be, but yeah, some people are, a lot of people are doing that.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Hmm. Yeah. But
But
as we, oh,
mhm,
sorry. Go ahead. What are you gonna say?
I don't know. Do you think that women tend to stay? And I think the thing about the Tina and Teddy situation, it bothers me that, women can be, emotionally, physically, you know, disconnected from their spouse or abused, and they'll stay. And it's not until the man makes the decision. A lot of times it's the men that are making the decisions to leave. And I'm thinking, why wouldn't she have left? I mean, because I would not have allowed, if I went that far in my anger, if he took, well, let me say this. He didn't take her there. She took herself there from her anger, right? So I'm not going to
Yep.
blame him
She
for
did.
how her response was. But I couldn't imagine allowing somebody to get me to that point. I would leave. They talk about forgiveness and reconciliation, and I think the church folks, they throw scriptures and they throw all these things at you to guilt you to stay. And I'm like, and I think that's what it was. I don't know if you've seen a scene where she was talking to her sister Tina. No,
Hmm.
yeah, Tina. No, no, not Tina.
Erica.
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 And Erica was, trying to,
Church her
get,
down.
yes, Christian talk. And she's like, I don't want to hear that. I
Right.
don't,
I saw this. I
I don't
saw
want to
this.
hear that. It's just like, let her be real in this moment of what she's really feeling. And then people be throwing out scripts. And I get, we have a responsibility as Christians. But at the same time, there's a natural side to us too,
Yep.
and ignore. So yeah.
I 100% agree with you, and I did see that, and I thought the exact same thing. I know in church, um, this is an interesting dynamic, right? So in church, you'll have people who will try to Bible beat you or Bible thump you, whatever, hit you with all these scriptures, while at the same time they've been divorced 2, 3 times, or they're contemplating divorce, or they're in the middle of going through the same situation. And it's just crazy, right? Now, again, you're right. We have a responsibility as Christians, to mention, to talk about, to first put that out there. I mean, we have to, but there's also a human side. And I used to at one point in my ministry, I used to tell people I don't necessarily believe in divorce, but as I've gotten older and grown more mature, and I've seen what happens between married couples sometimes, I 100% wholeheartedly believe in divorce. There's no way somebody should be married to someone who's abusing them, whether it's a mental, whether it's physical, or any other kind of way.
Right.
There's no reason for you to do that. No reason for you to stay there. Um, because we don't want something to happen to you that might, might be permanent,
Yeah.
right? And or you wind up taking your own life. And so, no, I don't believe that you should stay married to somebody for that purpose. However, if you say that you're unhappy, happiness doesn't begin or end with the person that you're married to. That starts and ends with you. If
That's
you
right.
aren't happy with yourself, you're never going to be happy with anybody else. And in that instance, I would say you don't even think about getting married until you can take care of what you're going through, what's happening on the inside of you. Because I have spoken to people who blame someone else for their happiness or their unhappiness. And I'm like, how
Yeah.
do you blame somebody else for you? They have no control whatsoever. They lend to your happiness, but they don't control your
Right.
happiness. That's 100% up to you. How do you do that? But
That's
yeah,
true.
sometimes that has to happen. Divorce, it's that's why divorce exists, so that you can exit a marriage if you need to exit a marriage. But I do believe you should try all that you can outside of that abuse situation, that you should try if you can to reconcile. And if you can't reconcile, then you got to do what you feel is what you need to do. I do also believe there's a spiritual component. I do believe you should pray and ask God, are you leaving for the right reasons? Can I leave? The question always for anything that I do is like, God, can I? Is this permissible? Do you permit this? Sometimes you don't have to ask God because you
I was
know
gonna,
what the answer is, right? But there are other times when you need to ask God, like, am I really, should I really leave? Sometimes in marriage is tough. Like people I don't think understand is, Anika, that marriage is not easy. It's not exactly for the faint of heart. If you don't have a high tolerance or threshold for ups and downs,
yeah.
for things that might not always work out the way that you think they're going, you shouldn't entertain marriage. You shouldn't. I'll be the first one to say it. I would love to see you get married, but if you aren't that type of person, if you aren't able to compromise, if you aren't able to give of yourself when you really don't want to give of yourself, if you aren't willing to go the extra mile and put all the chips on the table, if you are a selfish person, please don't get married.
But think about it. But that's not, is that really hard to do for you? Is that hard for you to do, Michael?
What's that?
All the things that you just said.
Oh, no, 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 no. None of those things are hard for
That's
me.
what I'm
I'm
that's
just,
that I'm making. It's not hard. It's not hard at all, but because we should come with that. We should come with that offering. So
mhm.
that's really not hard. So if a person gets into a relationship and it's hard to forgive, it's hard to see somebody else's point of view, that is a character flaw for them.
Yep.
Because you're right, that's really not hard.
No. And here's the thing, Anika, and this is the crazy thing. I see people who get married who do it all the time. I remember, I mean, it's been a little while since I've, done some coaching, counseling, whatever you want to call it with people. But I've sat in front of women and men who were selfish and said they wanted to get married. And my question to them would be, why? Why do you want to get married to somebody and you don't want them around? You don't want them in your space. Like, I don't understand. You're looking for a companion. You should not get married. You should just have a girlfriend or a boyfriend or companion. Don't marry someone, because marriage, and people will say, well, it's the same if you're not on paper. If it's the same, then just get married. What
Yeah.
I've heard that so many times, like, well, we'll want to mess it up. Paper will mess it up. How will paper mess it up? Yeah. Oh, Anika, I've heard that many, many a times. Like, oh no, if we get married, it's the law. Da, 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 it's gonna mess it up. It's no different. It's no different. Now the law, what's different is that the person that you're married to has rights. If you die, they're protected. They have your last name, so they're entitled to certain things. When you die and you're not married to someone, you have no protections whatsoever. There's nothing available to you legally. So if you're living in a house with someone, cohabitating with someone, and you die, your spouse, your fiance, your partner dies, if the parents come in, if the brothers come in, if some family member come in, they can put you out. They can take everything legally because you were not married to that person.
But can they put it in a will though? Let's say, because some people will say that, well, I'll just make sure I'll put you on my will and everything will go to
It
you.
can be
But
contested though.
okay,
You know this, Anika. Wills get contested every day, all day.
yeah,
You know, and family members a lot of times win because it's like you weren't married to the person, and especially, and people should know this. If your parents are still living, and it's it's you. The next in line is the parent. I mean, next in line bloodline is the parent, and you're not married to that person. Oh, you better believe. Even if you are married, a lot of times, if you died and the parent is still living, they still are entitled to certain things.
Apparently,
Depending on,
no, Michael. I
oh,
thought
absolutely.
you
It
went
depending on
on
what
the,
state you live in.
the married person is the next of kin. No,
If
you,
you die, Nika,
huh?
yeah, I say if you die, they're and your parent is still living, they can actually contest your will and get things out.
Oh,
Oh
you
my
want
God.
a will, but I'm saying if you're married though, you can't.
Oh no, 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 not if you're
Oh, I
married.
thought
No, no,
you
no,
said
no, no,
married. Okay.
no, not if you're married. No, no,
Oh,
no, no, no.
yeah, I thought we had
Mm-mm.
switched. Okay,
No,
okay. So
no.
yeah,
On the other side, if you're not married,
not
then
married.
a parent can come in and contest the will, but like this person is means nothing.
Okay, yeah, I can see
You know what
that.
I mean? Yeah. So
Yeah.
you just gotta really, really, really be careful. But outside of that, the whole deal is, you know, again, trying to understand why did he do that? And again, what would cause him to cheat? Like how I don't want to say how bad was it, but what was missing there? And I want to know from the standpoint of a teaching perspective, because people need to know when you get in marriage, if this does happen, how do you overcome this?
Yeah.
If it can be overcome, how do you do it? And for me, I like to learn from mistakes. So tell me what happened, what triggered that in you that made you do that, so that I can avoid that particular thing. That's what I want to know. I really want to know from him, what did she do? Or Anika, what didn't she do that prompted you to make that, I guess, the choice?
Yeah, it's just like at what point did what happened before that happened? Like you said, like
Hmm.
what was happening before you decided to engage in an affair? Um, man, so yeah, but that's a good question. You just wonder, like we always say, the why to behavior.
Hmm.
It doesn't always have to be, the question of your moral character. It could be that you were unhappy. You didn't know how to
Hmm.
communicate. You were unhappy. You were afraid. You afraid you're gonna be judged. You're afraid of failure.
Hmm.
He wanted to leave. I mean, the fact that he has been cheating, he's probably wanted to, exit the relationship a long time, but he probably was guilted or she was guilted into staying. And if you don't want to be there no more, you don't want to be there no more. And I think people just need to be honest with themselves. It's a painful truth when you're married. You decide you don't want to be with someone anymore. You don't want to hurt them. But I'm like, cheating on them is very hurtful.
Yeah. And
So,
I wonder because I just thought about, and thinking about how we've seen her behave. I just wondered, had he checked out in the marriage and he just, he was all but checked out physically, right? Like it felt like just looking at him, he was like just void of any kind of feeling. And I wonder what got him to that place. Like, was it because for a man, and women should know this, a lot of men, um, they hurt like anybody else, like a woman would as well.
oh,
And you talked about all those things, the love languages and all that. For men, they need those things. Most men need those things to support, to love, kind words, words of affirmation, all those kinds of things, and to get just the opposite. Like I could see her cussing him out. It's
you can
nothing.
see,
Oh man, I could definitely see her. I'm talking about with the hard F's, all that MFs. I could see.
you can
I
see,
can see. Oh, what? Yeah, you know how you can
yeah,
look at a person sometimes. You're like, oh, they would never. I can't. Her, you like, oh yeah, yeah,
you can,
yeah, yeah, 100%. You
yeah,
know, she would. She even to me, because we seen this. She had a violent. She got somewhere in her past is some violence.
yeah. Because if she
And,
went that far,
yeah,
that's pretty far for
right.
someone that's kind of foreign to them. Like that wasn't foreign to you. Not saying that she
No,
would ever
no,
took it far, but just in terms of being angry, to
yeah,
allow have the fact that you had that in you
yes.
says a lot.
And I wonder too, Anika, and I'm gonna say this out loud because some people won't. I wonder if she put her hands on him.
Mm.
I do. I'm serious because Anika, like I said, she shot at him, right? And if you're
I,
shooting somebody, you know, like I mean, what would it be to put your hands on somebody? That's nothing. If you talking about shoot, she talked about killing people, Anika. Like that's ugh.
yeah.
And this is a legend. I'm gonna say a legend. You
Okay.
know, um, but I, And
Yeah,
the articles I read, it,
yeah, busted out some car windows. I didn't know about the shooting. So like you said,
yeah, you can go back and look it up. It was one of she tore up, but she shot at one this Mustang they had. I think it was a Mustang. She shot the car badly. I mean, she put bullet holes all up in this thing. She destroyed, I think it was two other cars. And here was the thing that was crazy to me. That was community property. So you're you're tearing up your own property. Like you're literally tearing, and she was so upset though that it just took her there. And I could get, I don't want to dismiss her being upset because she had every reason to be upset, but it's what you do with your feelings.
absolutely.
It's what you do with them. And we got to be mindful. And my wife has to remind me at times, and had to remind me today even, because somebody said something crazy and sideways to me. And I was just like, I had to really, my old me, Nneka,
It would have been over. So Stephanie keep you like it's okay. Like relax.
and that's what a good spouse does. A great spouse
Yeah.
does. They'll
Oh,
remind you like don't lose it over this and
you have
lose
to move.
everything because of this, right? But I did want to know what made him do that. And as I looked at her and I think about her, she just seemed very violent. And I could see her cussing him out. I could see her saying, mean and nasty things to him. And this doesn't mean that she did. I'm just telling you for what I saw her, when I see her, when I think about her, that's what it was. And then it also makes me think this didn't just start with Teddy. What happened earlier on in her life that brought her to this place? Because I gotta believe that something earlier on took place and it drove her to this. It triggered some things, and this is how she responded.
Yeah.
And I just wondered if other members of her family, the women, if they acted like that, if the mother is like that, was the grandmother like that? I started thinking like that then.
Yeah. You start going down the cycle, the trigger cycle. Because I think for the father, their father wasn't in their lives. I
Mm-mm.
kind of abandoned them. I don't know if he stepped out on the mother.
I
Uh,
think he did.
yeah, so I think it could be some trigger. Again, it's that trigger cycle or something like that. You was faced with that before with your mom and dad, and then you're faced with it. And sometimes for some people that's the greatest fear, to have a spouse step out on you. That's things that people fear, them some people fear the most. And then for it to happen, it's just like you weren't prepared for it. But I'm sure there were signs
Yeah.
that she may have ignored, because not Mary, Erica's husband cheated on her. Yeah, he cheated too, but I think they worked through it.
Yeah.
But yeah,
It's a lot. It's a lot. And you're right. I think there were signs that were there. Um, and I wonder if he was ever happy in a marriage. Like where did the marriage break down at? And he cheated on her multiple times.
mhm,
Does that mean he didn't love her? I don't know. I don't know that it didn't mean that he didn't love her. It means that he disrespected her. I
yeah,
don't know that that meant he didn't love her. You said something else that I want to go back to. You said that men cheat for different reasons and different opportunities. And you're gonna probably be a little upset with this because we talked about Kevin Samuels. One of these days, we're gonna go back and just break down a couple of his shows.
okay, I'm open to that.
Okay, good, 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 good. But he said something, and I think a lot of women need to hear this and understand it. And he said this, and I don't know if Teddy did this with his wife or not. I don't think so. But there are sometimes an understanding in these marriages, right? Where you realize the type of man that you're married to, he's never going to be committed to just you. And you got to understand that that's what it is. And that's Kevin Samuels, that is. He said it wasn't cheating. It was just he has, because of his lifestyle and because of who he is and what he does, there are opportunities to do it, right? And that if a woman didn't understand that, then they probably wouldn't want to be married to him because that's the type of
And
man he was. Hmm.
he was saying that about himself.
Yeah, he was saying about himself, and he was saying actually about a particular group of men. He was talking about, for the most part, these men who were high valued men or highly valued men.
Mhm.
And when you have men who are high value, they have a lot of opportunities that a lot of other men don't. And so women who oftentimes are with these kinds of men, they have to understand that if you're one of the conditions is if you're with them, you're probably not the only one. And in some most instances, you're gonna probably be one of maybe five, one of six, or one of 10
Hmm.
because of the type of man that he is. And I've told women that I said, listen, for the type of man that you're talking about entertaining, you understand what type of man you might be getting, right? Because a lot of these men understand I can have five or six, seven women. I can afford to have five or six women, or seven or 10, or whatever the number is. It's multiple. Let's just say multiple, more than one. And the women have to be okay with it. And there are a lot of women who are okay with it. And guess what? There are women out here like that as well. There are some women who are like, look, I don't have a boyfriend. I have multiple boyfriends or multiple friends because of the type of woman I am. That's what I want. That's what I desire. Now, there are probably less of those women than there are men. And I want to throw one other thing at you that caught my attention because I did some research and I found out that you're right. Men cheat more than women. However, younger women, 30 and under, cheat as much or more than men in general.
Okay.
And that stat caught me, Anika, because I was like, wait a minute, young girls are cheating. I'm talking married women now, are cheating more or are cheating as much or more than men. That's scary.
Yeah, I think these modern day women, I feel like when the fun stops, I think those that age that is that Gen Z, is that Gen Z?
I think so.
Yeah, I just think sometimes some in that age gap, in that age range, they're always looking for fun. And when the
Hmm.
fun runs out, they go and look elsewhere. And the reality is you're not gonna always be having fun, you're not gonna always be spending money and going on lavish vacations. And I think sometimes it's an unrealistic viewpoint of what marriage is and what it should be. And it's just like be realistic. You're not gonna always be holding hands, kicking cans. You're gonna be upset with each other sometimes, and you're not gonna like that person. You may love them, but you may not like them sometimes. And I think when people get into relationships, they don't. When that happens, they feel, oh, it's the end. The relationship is fractured. Like, no,
Hmm.
it means you gotta, reconnect, figure out ways to reconnect.
Yeah. A lot of it too, and we talked about this some time ago. Social media has really killed a lot of marriages. It really has. So you'll see like these housewife franchises, and they trade and get rid of husbands, man. Like you playing cards, like you just gambling. Like there's nothing, there's nothing there. I mean, they could be married today and not be married tomorrow, and it doesn't matter. And
Yeah.
so you see people. I mean, these kids watch these shows, and they're very, very tied to these shows. They're very, very, they're into it so much that they believe that's what life looks like,
Yeah.
right? They really believe that's what life looks like. And if you could talk to these people, they'll tell you, oh, that's all, this is just for fun and games. It's a TV show. It's not my real life, right? A lot of it is for entertainment. This is what I was telling you about Kevin Samuels.
Yeah.
It's entertainment. So people don't oftentimes, and they can't see or tell the difference between entertainment and real life. They see it and they believe entertainment is real life. And I'm here to tell you that's not real life.
Mhm.
That's called entertainment.
Yeah.
That's all it's for. These people don't, you, it's entertainment. I
Yeah.
just need that.
You couldn't pay me. You could not pay me no amount of money to be on those shows. It's all money ain't good money. And the
Oh,
way things, ugh, the
you're
women
right.
at each other and talk to each other and ugh,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
look different. Like the women that are on there, I just don't respect them.
Mm.
I do not respect them.
Why not? Why?
Only because it's like you're doing it to generate money.
Yep.
Have kids, like
Hmm.
it's like prior. I'm not saying that you can't have a life, but you have, even if you're not trying to be a role model for the little black women and little kids that are around you, you have kids of your own. I would be embarrassed if I was a little kid and my mom, I would be
Mm.
embarrassed because how they carry on, how they, it's like how can you teach your kid to be nice and kind and you're not nice and kind and don't bully and you don't be a mean girl, don't gossip about your friends, don't be, how can you promote that when you're not doing that? And it's
Mm.
like no, so no, I just don't have any respect for them. I don't have any respect for the whole franchise because it's just
Yeah.
to me.
It's
I had to stop.
again, it's Yeah, it's entertainment. That's what I was telling you early on. I was like, Anika, I know it's tough for you to watch some of this stuff and hear this stuff,
Yeah.
especially as it relates to Kevin Samuels. But a lot of it, probably more than half of it, was all entertainment. That's what it's for. But the problem is that people can't oftentimes delineate between what's real and what's not real. It's like when we look at, I don't know about you, Nick, but when I look at social media now, sometimes I have a very difficult time in distinguishing, is this AI or is this real?
Yep.
Like you'll see a whole bunch of stories. Like I just saw something where Candy Burris' ex-husband, or soon to be ex-husband, Todd,
Well,
is
they
now engaged to Angela.
it's final.
It is fine. Okay. So
Yeah.
her ex-husband, Todd, is engaged to Angela Simmons. And there's a
What?
picture that was no. So
Oh.
hold on a second. Hold on
Okay.
a second. Yeah. Slow
Okay.
down a little bit. Slow down. Slow
Okay.
down a little bit.
Okay. You did say AI.
So AI. They put up this picture and she's not engaged to this man. He's not engaged to her. So it was, this whole thing on it, and it made it look like they were engaged, they were a couple and all the rest of the stuff because of AI, you
Wow.
know. But I say that because this is how people are being thrown off now. You don't know what's real and what's not real.
Yeah.
And in these relationships that you see on television, a lot of times people can't tell the difference between what is real and what isn't real. And so people will think something that is supposed to be a certain way, it really shouldn't be that way. And it's not that way, rather. But you see this on social media and you think, oh, that's how that goes. This is what it is. This da, 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 da. And so you get a whole bunch of that. But in reference to, Tina and her husband,
Yeah.
you know, uh, I feel bad for both of them because obviously she has some things going on, and obviously now he has some things going on as well. And you got kids, and their kids are watching this play out in front of everybody. So imagine you got to go to school,
Yeah.
you see people talking about your mom. Your mama ain't that. Your mama crazy. Your mama kill it. Gonna kill your father. Gonna kill your daddy.
Yeah.
I saw your daddy running from your mother. I saw your mama running down the street cussing him out.
That's what. Yeah.
All these things.
Yeah. I would not want. I would want my kids to be proud of me. So that's one reason why I don't
Mm,
respect for them women, because I feel like it's selfish. It's for
hmm
the money. It's it's trying to get the bag, and it's like you will sacrifice integrity, who you are for a bag. And your kids got to grow up, and they're gonna grow up, and they're gonna see. Yeah, they may not be watching it now, but this footage don't go away. They're gonna
Nope.
see that. So you're
Yeah.
promoting dysfunction. You're promoting hate and bullying, and it's just a mess.
Yeah. And then your grandkids gonna say it does live forever, unfortunately. And you can't explain it away because I watched you do it. So
Yeah.
it's not anything you can say. You can talk to you blue in the face, but we literally saw you on TV say and do this. Like you out here, like, I was looking and I saw some of these entertainers, some of these women, um, and they out here really showing themselves, like really just putting it all out there. And I'm like, man, one day your kids gonna see this. You gotta explain to your kids, mommy, why did you do this?
Yeah.
Like,
Mm,
why would you out here doing this on TV for money?
yeah.
Like, I mean, just the
Mm-mm.
things that you hear and the things that you see is just crazy. And you say to yourself, man, oh man, oh man, oh man.
Uh,
But I will say this, I mean, my prayers up to, Tina and Erica for that matter, because I was cheating on her too.
yeah.
Did you start thinking, is this something, as a man, you look at that family, you like, hey, they over here batting 2 for 2.
No, I think a lot of, and we can probably talk about this, to just affairs in the ministry in the church.
Oh yeah. Yeah,
A
yeah,
lot
yeah,
of fidelity in the church, and I think a lot of boundaries are crossed.
yeah.
You spend a lot of time in the church traveling and singing, and I think sometimes people put too much. I mean, they put too much emphasis on spiritual, and there's a natural
Mm-hmm.
component, and it's just like they kind of overlook the natural component. Oh, I'm saved, I'm
Mm-hmm.
full with the Holy Ghost, and like, no, I'm too blessed to be stressed, and they say all these things. And it's just like, listen, people, everything is not spiritual. It's like there's a natural component to things. You have your past, you have a background, you got
Yeah.
trauma, but all these things that will creep up if you're
Yeah.
not careful, and you ignore it because you feel like you hide behind your faith,
Mm-hmm.
act like you're like immune to that. That can't touch me, but it can.
Yeah.
So
And it does. And look, not only it can, it does.
it does. Right.
Yeah, yeah. You got because the church is merely a reflection of the world. Like you see what's going on now. Divorce in church is over 50% of it.
Mm. Oh,
That's it shouldn't be that way, but divorce is high in church. And it tells you a lot about where the state of the church is.
yeah.
You see all of these scandals with these pastors, and people lose faith, and it's hard because you tell people don't don't put all your hope and faith in the pastor, because the pastor is only he's a servant of the Lord, right?
Yeah.
And then some people say, well, if he's a servant, well, who is he serving? Because he doing all this.
Yeah.
Sometimes they'll get lost, and that's not, and you don't understand that he's a person.
Mm.
He's fallible. He's not infallible. He
Yeah.
makes mistakes, or she rather, also too
Mm.
makes mistakes, right?
Oh,
You got women pastors who have been caught in so many scandals as well. So, that's not just a man thing. That's a preacher thing sometimes. That's just a pastor thing sometimes.
yeah. Yeah. Just, you got to protect yourself. You got to be mindful. You got to know your weaknesses. You got to talk to
Hmm.
your spouse and don't get caught up.
Yeah.
Recognize signs and don't think people just being, like you said, the woman that's, touching you and laugh. Ha ha ha. It's just like,
Yeah. Yeah. And you got to know too. And if you know what's interesting, you say that, I was thinking about this. You got to know where your trigger points are,
yeah.
right? I know for me, if I see women who could remotely be someone I could be attracted to, I really don't, I don't give a lot of time or attention to.
Mm,
I don't, because I understand what could possibly happen. I'm
yeah.
still a man at the end of the day. She's still a woman at the end of the day. That's any of us, right?
Just, you don't put yourself in a position.
I don't. I don't allow myself to be put in a position because I understand quite easily. I've met too many people who have gone through it. I've seen too many people go through it. I'm smart enough to know, don't put yourself in that position.
Right.
Like, you don't have to say hi. I mean, you could think I'm rude, and I get it. I understand that, but I don't have to say hi. I don't always have to do
Right.
what,
You ain't got
what
to
you
be
think
mom
other people.
face.
I don't. I
Right.
don't, and I don't. I don't. I'm just, again, I'm smart enough because a lot of guys, it's like, man, how you in that group, man? And you on this easy. My
Mm,
mind ain't focused on that. My mind is focused on a whole bunch of other things.
yeah. Getting back
That's
home.
the last thing.
Exactly.
Yeah, yeah. And that's why a lot of times too, I think a lot of guys, man, they get mad. It's like, man, you got your wife with you everywhere. That's because for a few reasons. One, I love having her around.
Mm,
That's at the top of the list. The second thing is, I love having her around. The
that's it.
third thing is, yeah, the third thing is I love having her
I
around.
love I
I
know.
don't have to I don't have to get or engage in these other things. I'm happy. I'm satisfied where I'm at. Life is different when you've been through something with someone and you just have a genuine like for
Oh,
them.
gosh,
It's
yeah.
more than just a love, but it's a like as well. So that's just my little story. And again, I'm a human being, and I understand all of us are susceptible to falling, but don't do something that's going to put you in a position to fall.
Don't. Mm-mm. Yeah.
Yeah.
But Michael, it's my bedtime. I feel like someone just kind of came in.
Oh, they did. Let's see here. You might be right. Oh, yeah, you are right. I just had the thing up. Oh, that was Vella. Hey, Vella, how you doing?
But it's Vela. We haven't heard from Vela in a while.
I
Vela, we
know.
miss
I think Vella might be working during the time that we're. Vella, are you working during the time when we first come on? I want to say I believe
you.
she
Yeah,
is during the time when we first come on. I think that's what the case is.
that's what it is. Aw.
Hmm. Yeah. So we don't get a chance to catch her live. I see her comments though after we're done. But you're
Okay.
right. So we can wrap this up, Vella. Thank you so much for joining us. We're gonna wrap this up.
Vela,
Any last words as we get up out of here?
I don't know. Just love on your spouse. If you're married, love on your spouse. Appreciate your spouse. Don't take them for granted. Have deep, intimate conversations. Talk the details. Sometimes we just kind of are too surface. Like, really get in there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think to that point, you got to tell somebody when you're struggling with something, meaning you aren't happy with them, you don't like something,
Hmm.
I don't like how you talk to me, I don't like how you look at me, I don't like how you do, you got to of course clean the language up, right? But you got to talk about those things, and also too talk about the things that you do like. Like, I want you to do this, I want this, and if they can't do it, then you got to figure out, okay, what do we do? How do we How do we
Yeah.
do this? A lot of these conversations are very difficult conversations, and sometimes they require a mediator like yourself to come in and help with the conversation
Yeah.
and
Breaking.
help to get and help get beyond,
Mhm.
some of the surface stuff because a lot of it truly is surface.
Oh,
So yeah, talking and communication is effective communication is key to any relationship, but especially to the marital relationship. Like your whole marriage is based on communication. And at any point where the communication has broken down, you got to figure out quickly the
yeah.
communication has broken down. What do we need to do to get it right, fixed, and get back on track?
That's it. That's
Yeah,
it. I think that
yeah,
was.
yeah, yeah. So
Yep.
Vela did say yep, they got her working. That's what she said. I figured that was because she said she was going to go back and watch it. We miss you too. And
Yeah.
go back and drop some comments in there. We want to hear from you, young lady.
Yeah.
But Anika, it was good talking to you about this again.
Likewise.
And we're gonna talk about this Kevin Samuels thing at some point. I don't wanna
Yeah. You let me know. I know you said
yeah,
I'm
yeah, yeah.
traveling a lot and you got some things coming up. So just
I
kind of
do.
schedule so we can, pre-record or whatever it is we need to do.
Yeah, no, no, we're gonna definitely keep it going. We ain't gonna I mean, we both have stuff we're doing, right? We both are
Yeah.
busy. I don't wanna we got things to do, but this is important too. And I love
It is.
doing this and having the conversations. Hopefully people are getting something from it. We hope you guys are getting something from it. We ready to get out of here. But again, do us a favor, please. Like the channel, subscribe to the channel, share the channel. And if you have a topic you want us to talk about, please let us know. We would love to
Yes.
vet it, talk about it, and put it out here for you guys. All right.
All
Thank you
right.
so much, Anika. Thank
Yeah.
you so much. We're
Oh.
gonna